Hey guys, it's Elizabeth. I just got off of work and I decided since it takes me so long to get home, especially on Friday afternoons with traffic and everything, I decided that why shouldn't I just vlog? And so today I decided to try something new and do a story time vlog. Okay, so today I really should just move all this, but I can't because I'm already going and I didn't even think of that, but that's fine. So I want to tell you guys a story about Tinder dates. I have, in the spring of 2015, I had just gone through like a really bad breakup, and so I just decided that I wanted to start going on Tinder dates just for fun because, you know, me and my friends could laugh about it and tell stories about it and all sorts of great stuff. And so I downloaded the app, and I just started swiping just for fun, no intention of going out and meeting anyone or doing anything. And so it was all just fun. And then one day, like maybe day 2, this guy matched with me. We'll call him Jacob because Jacob was his name and I don't know his last name and I've never seen him since, so we'll just call him his name, Jacob. Jacob messaged me, and the first thing that he told me, the boy that I was like just broken up with at the time, he and I broke up due to a variety of religious reasons. And so basically it came down to, I was a Catholic and he was an atheist, and it was both like really new to us, and so we just decided it wasn't going to work out, which is fine, we're still friends, it's great. But Jacob messaged me, and the very first thing that he told me was, "Hey, I'm an atheist, I just wanted to let you know that." And I was like, okay. And so I messaged him back and was like he didn't even say hi or anything. This is the first thing ever. So I messaged him back and I was like, "Hey, I just got out of a really long relationship for this exact reason. So I'm pretty sure that if it was gonna work, it would have. And so I don't really want to try anything." He was like, no, like it's fine. Let's just talk about it." And I was like, okay, whatever. I'll humor you and just like, whatever, it's fine. It's just for fun, whatever. And so we talked a little bit, argued a little bit, like whatever. 20 minutes later, he's like, "All right, I think we should meet up." And I was like, warning sign, if you're ever on Tinder and they want to meet you that day, it's no. You should never do it. No. But I didn't know that. And so I was like, you know, hesitating about it. I was like, I don't know. I might be busy tonight. I might not be. It was like a Tuesday night or something. And so it came down to me being like, okay, yeah, I'll meet you tonight. And so he was like, okay, well, I just got my own new apartment. Like, come over and I'll make you dinner. You can be my very first guest. And I was like, I started talking to you like an hour ago. I had no idea about like your existence or anything at all. I think that me going over to your apartment to just hang out with you would not result well for me. I think that sounded so dangerous. And so I dropped the line there. I was like, no, thank you. Like, we can go meet somewhere public. So we decided to go to a pizza place. And like that's fine, whatever. But this was in the springtime, so it was during Lent, and being the good person that I am who had just started driving, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give up speeding for Lent because that sounds like so good. It'd be such good self-discipline. It was. If you need something to give up, that's a great thing. But I had stopped before I went on the date. I had stopped to visit my friends at work so I could like talk to them about it or whatever. So I was late leaving, and then because I couldn't speed to get there, I was even later getting there. And so the very first thing that he said to me, before it's nice to meet you, like anything, he's like, "Oh gosh, I'm so glad you look like you, because before you got here, I was worried that you were the girl who sat across from me on this bench because she's too fat for me." And I was like, you can't say that about people. Basic, like, strangers, never done anything to you, never talked to you before, anything, and you're just like, she's too fat for me. That should have been my warning sign right there. But I was a polite person, and I was like, oh, well, this is me. I'm sorry that I was late because I was speeding. Second thing he says to me, I don't speed. I was like, everyone speeds. But I didn't say anything. It was like, I don't speed because going at an increasing velocity doesn't give me a rush like it does most people. I was like, okay, well, I never talk like that. But I was like, maybe it's his thing, like, just, it's fine, you gotta work out the quirks in people before, like, anything, you know, can happen. And so I was like, okay, like, that's nice, like, whatever. By this time we get our table, and we're sitting there, and the waiter comes by and asks if we'd like to order our food. And so I hadn't ever been there before, and so I was still kind of looking at the menu, but it was a pizza place. I knew that the only really like type of pizza that I like is cheese pizza. That's it. Now I don't, but like at the time that was my only like thing that I would go with. And so especially like here, I'd never been here, I didn't know what else was good. All I wanted was cheese pizza, and I think that's fine. If you're like, I'm a picky eater, if you're a picky eater, that's fine, you get what you want if you'll eat it. But he was like, you can't just get cheese pizza at a pizza place. Like, when they make cheese pizza, they specialize in cheese pizza, I'm sure that's fine. But he's like, you can't do that, that's awful. Like, I'm gonna order for you. I was like, oh, whoa, you can't order for me. He was like, did you know that you only don't like any other food because the first time you tried it, you had your eyes open and prejudged it before you even tasted it? And I was like, okay, that's ridiculous. But I was like, okay, tell me about it. He was like, well, you'd like a lot of foods if you just tried to eat them with your eyes closed for the first time. That way, your brain doesn't prejudge them, and so you know. And I was like, okay, you are being absolutely ridiculous. But I tried to be so polite. I should have left, I know that. But it was my first ever Tinder date, so I was like, okay, I can, like, go through this whole thing, like whatever. And so we're talking about, like, trying new foods and everything, and he's like, but I don't like bacon. And I'm like, okay, I don't like bacon either, but, like, okay, you're saying that I don't like stuff because I didn't first try it with my eyes closed. He's like, well, I have my eyes open, but I don't like it because the ratio of grease to meat is completely improportional. It's like, what? That's a ridiculous reason not to like something. And he was like, no, but that's completely okay because, like, it's different. And I was like, okay, so when you don't like stuff, it's different from when I don't like stuff. We talked about it for a little bit, and by the time we were done talking about it, the waiter came back. And they're like, okay, well, what do you want to order? And as I started to talk, here's my, as I started to talk, he was like, interrupted me, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna have this, and on the other half of the pizza, she's gonna have this. And he ordered me something other than cheese pizza. Instead of cheese pizza and red sauce, like a typical pizza, he was like, okay, well, you're gonna get cheese, and then you're gonna get Alfredo sauce. Dude, what if I don't like Alfredo sauce on my pizza? Like, you can't just do that. Like, I'm my own person. I can make my own decisions. Like, ugh. But I was like, okay, Elizabeth, you're a big person. You like Alfredo, like chicken Alfredo. Like, you can do this and not make a big deal out of it. Because I didn't want to seem high maintenance or anything, you know? And so, like, she takes our order, whatever. I don't make a big deal of it. And we're sitting there waiting for our food. And he's like, okay, I'm going to go wash my hands. And I was like, okay, whatever. And he's like, you need to stay here and watch my stuff. And I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And then he's like, when I get back, you need to go wash your hands too. It's like, okay, well, I wash my hands before I eat all the time. You can go, I'll be nice. I wash my hands before I eat all the time, but I don't need to be told that. I don't need to be instructed. I'm an adult, and I can make my own decisions. But I was like, okay, I'll go wash my freaking hands if that's what you want. And after I wash my hands, we're sitting there, we get the food, we start to eat it, whatever. I'm like so over hanging out with him or whatever, like completely 100%. I don't want to be there at all. But I'm a nice person and I'm like suffering through it. And there's a family sitting next to us with like a toddler and then like a newborn baby. And so of course like the parents are like oohing and awing over their kids because they're so happy about them and everything. And I love babies. I love kids. I work with kids on weekends. I love it. And so I don't understand how anyone couldn't love kids. But we're sitting there and I'm like looking at him, like the family, and I guess he's like talking to me or something. I don't know. And he's like, Elizabeth. And I'm like, what? Like, do you need something? Like, what? Did you ask me a question? I don't know what's going on. And so he's like, you're being so rude because I'm trying to talk to you and enjoy this date with you. And you're sitting there looking at someone else, giving someone else your attention. I'm like, all right, that someone else is a baby, a family, and it's cute. I love it. It makes me happy. And you're being absolutely ridiculous. I didn't say anything. I was like, I'm so sorry. What are we talking about? And he was like, we're talking about car engines. I don't look at car engines. My car like starts when I turn the key and it runs and it's perfect and I love it. But I don't like, my mind doesn't think about how like things move through the car and everything. He's like, what kind of car do you drive? And so I'm like, okay, I'll tell you. And I told him and he was like, okay. And while we're sitting there trying to eat, he gets out his phone, Googles pictures of my car engine, and tries to start explaining to me how all the air and everything like moves through the different tubes and tunnels and chambers and all sorts of stuff on our date. I'm like, are you serious? You're being absolutely crazy right now. Like, you're doing everything just because like that's what you want to talk about. You're not considering me at all. We finish eating, he pays, we get up and leave. And so at this point I'm like, I need to get out of here. Like, this is the worst. This is awful. Oh, this truck is so loud. And I'm like, this is the worst. This is so awful. Like, I don't want to be here. But we go across the street and get coffee from Starbucks, and we're sitting there. And he's like, still talking about my car engine. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And so I'm texting my friend Kat. I love her. She's awesome. And I'm like, I need an excuse to get out of here. And she's like, okay, I'm going to call you in 5 minutes. Because it couldn't be like I was on my phone and then my phone just happened to ring. So we had to like give it a little bit. And so I was like, talking to him, like, oh yeah, like, blah, 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 my car engine, la, 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 that's great. And Kat calls me, and she's like, oh no, Elizabeth, there's been an emergency. I'm like, oh no, what happened? She's like, Kat's stuck in a tree, I'm stuck, you have to come get me out and take me to the vet. And I was like, I'll be there as soon as I can. And I hung up the phone, and I looked at him, like, I'm so sorry, I have to go so early. And he's like, no, it's fine, I'll walk you to your car. And I'm like, okay. So we go down. We're like at like, we parked in a parking garage under like this whole place. And so we go down and he's supposed to like walk me to my car, right? But we get down there and all of a sudden he doesn't remember where he parked his car. Completely lost, completely gone. Doesn't remember what level it's on. Doesn't remember what around him like looked like or anything. Doesn't remember anything. And so now I'm walking him to his car, trying to help him find his car, and so that he can get home. I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous. He finally finds it, and I kid you not, he's literally like jumping up and down for joy, clapping his hands, like doing a little dance. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. And he looks at me and he's like, we found it! And he like goes in to give me a hug, and so I like politely like hug him back a little bit, and then he's like, okay, I had a great time tonight. And I was like, yeah, I have to go, I'm so sorry. And then he leans in to kiss me, and I literally put my hand right up and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't kiss on the first date. And he was like, oh, I completely understand, next time works, I'm so glad we worked everything out. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, text me when you get home, okay, to know that like everything's worked out like with your emergency. And I was like, okay, thanks. I get in my car. It's freezing outside this whole time. Like, we're like, the parking garage is like technically underground, but it's still like exposed to the open air and everything. So I'm like freezing cold. I lose one of my gloves in the parking garage. I don't know how, but on my way back to my car, I guess I took it off to text my friend. Like, thank you so much. And I guess I dropped it. My favorite gloves ever. They were just gone. But yeah, I got in my car, got home safely and everything. But I just wanted to let you guys know that that wasn't the absolute worst date I've been on, but it's up there. Now that I'm like almost halfway home, I got that little story off of my chest, and I hope that you enjoyed it too, because everyone else I've told has laughed about it. Now I laugh about it too. At the time it wasn't very funny. But I hope you enjoyed this little story time. I'm sorry my lighting in here is probably ridiculously weird because the sun's already starting to set, even though it's only like 3:30. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and give it a thumbs up if you like it. I think I'm going to start doing these story times more often, so subscribe to my channel and let me know what you think.